The next plugin that we've released recently was for Revit, and this is great for our BIM users. Instead of needing to create a secondary acoustic model separately in a CAD tool, you can create your Revit model and send geometry straight into Treble. The Treble plugin for Revit is a little bit different as opposed to our SketchUp and Rhino plugins, because what it also does is applies an automatic geometry simplification and space detection process. I'll go through this in a little bit more detail, but first I'll tell you how you can download the plugin. For this, you need to go to the Autodesk website and you can search for the Treble plugin there. Here you'll find our Treble plugin and you can download it that way. So now we're in Revit. I have a model here in front of me, which is a sort of a corporate office. And we can see from the outside we've got some various features about the model. We've got the sort of terrain or the trees, as well as the building itself. And if we have a look at some of the floor plans, we can see we've got our entrance and hallway area here. We've got some workspaces on the ground floor. We've got a few different levels as well. So this is connected from the ground floor up to the second floor hallway, more offices, and we also have a basement here as well. We can also cut a section view and see a little bit more inside the building. So we can see this is the hallway we were looking at before with the staircase up to the first floor. And inside we have our reception area here with some reception desks, furniture. We can see some of the detail around the furniture as well. And yeah, a bit more about the model here too. We can see here the chairs and tables for the various rooms. And perhaps at the back here we also have a office space with our chairs and desks as well. So what the typical workflow is that would be required to create an acoustic model from a Revit project such as this would be to manually measure out and create in a separate CAD software the models from scratch, be it Rhino or SketchUp. And of course this is an extra step and it can be quite time consuming to essentially remodel everything from scratch as well. One of the problems, or I guess why this exists in the first place, is because typically Revit models are too complicated to be used as acoustic models. As we could see with some of the furniture that we were looking at before, it's too detailed to be included in an acoustic model. We've got this railing here as well that wouldn't play nicely in acoustic simulation. And because of the way that these walls are all built up as well and other parts of the model, trying to simplify it ourselves manually also takes too much time. It would be much simpler to just measure out everything and recreate it from scratch. So that's exactly what our Treble plugin is trying to do for you. So instead of doing this, we can launch the plugin here. And we're left with a few options that we can select from. We can select rooms to export. So first we would navigate to which project we would like to import these models into. We can go to next. Now we can find all the rooms that are within our Revit project here. And we can search for exactly the ones that we would like to import. So for example here, maybe I want the hallway and entrance area. And maybe I want an open workspace as well. And I can select those and then export them directly into Treble. There are also a few other options that we can use to export our rooms from. So instead of selecting rooms individually, we can also select to export the entire project. But we also have another option here, which is to export from a 3D view. So this is now looking at all the different 3D views that we have, and we can export from that instead. What's useful about this process is that you might have a very large Revit project. And what we do when we commence the simplification process is we create an IFC export of your model. Exporting via a 3D view will make sure that the IFC we create is only to the confines of that section box, which means that it can make the import process much more efficient than trying to do the whole project at once. The last option we have here is to export rooms from a 3D view. It can reduce the time it takes to export your Revit model to Treble. So we only look at the bounds of which the 3D view has been made. So for example here, I've got my 3D section 2 And if I navigate to that section here, it's just a small sample of the entire model. And I can use the plugin to export via this selected section. And now we can see, if I select my project again, that there's only a selection of the same rooms that were available before. And that will help save the time when we export to Treble. So now we've used the Revit plugin to export this whole project into Treble. So once that's been successfully completed, you'll start to see we have all our spaces over the left-hand side here. So each individual space that needs to be simulated has been broken into individual models that can now be selected. And we can see here with this entrance hallway, we've got two icons on this little box here, and it's indicating that this model is watertight, which means that a wave simulation can be performed, and geometric simulation is also available as well. So if we start to have a look into the details of this model, we can see how some of the geometry has been simplified compared to what it looked like in our source Revit model. So we can see we've still got the sofas here, but they've been simplified, as have the shelving and the desks as well. And there's also some furniture here in one of the common areas here. And again, we've got some more tables, chairs, and sofas as well. So given the size of this model or of this particular space and the complexity of it, this can save a bunch of time as opposed to needing to try to create something manually. And because it's watertight as well, there's no additional geometry preparation that needs to be done. And we can see that all the layers here, which have come through from the Revit model itself, have also been preserved so that it will be easy to assign our acoustic materials to it once we reach the model setting. We may not need to import all our models, so we can also toggle on and off our spaces up here, and we can select things individually as well. So perhaps I'd also like to select an open plan office as well. And again, we can see the level of detail that's been imported here as well. So the chairs have been simplified into 2D planes, and the tables have also been simplified and preserved as well. And we can select that one to import as well. So once we have selected the rooms that we'd like to simulate, we simply assign those to a project, or we can create a new one ourselves, and they're ready to go.